jednostką.
Each one of these children has also incarnated into multiple lifetimes beforehand.
Każdy z nich
Yes. Okay, so for example, Thoth in Atlantean times.
w czasach Atlantydy, Thoth,
In Atlantean times was king and ruler, and he ruled for 50,000 years throughout Atlantis. So if we're looking, if we go back 13,000 years, okay, which will take us to approximately 11,000 BC, let's say 11,000 BC, there was a very similar situation that is happening now that was happening then. A potential cataclysm that was going to happen then. I think what they think is if they bring back everybody in this room was there back then too. You wouldn't be here listening to me speak if you weren't back there then at that time as well.
Każdy w tej sali nie byli w tamtym miejscu.
You're magnetically drawn to this particular area now, and into this room now, and to the speakers in this room now, because you subconsciously know that we are now repeating a cycle again. Everybody in here knows each other on some level.
Na pewno wzajemnie.
Okay, so what they wanted to do is they think that they can stop the cataclysm that happened when Atlantis fell. Atlantis Atlantis wasn't some idyllic paradise. It also had wars, and it was also, there was negativity went on there, but it was a far more advanced civilization than the one we have now. So in genetically manipulating and taking DNA from here, taking DNA from there, taking DNA from there, they were okay. In addition, okay. So we have Project Ibis. There's also a female parallel project to it, where they were trying to bring in female deities too. They were looking to bring in the partners of the males from Ibis. They were looking to bring in the female partners to pair them up with the males.
Partnerki.
So, if they took, for example, let's use the example of ISIS. They went and took DNA from the tomb or the body of Isis, and then they manipulated it and then placed it into some women's wombs are stargates, stargate openings.
Do gwiazd.
Okay, so they also have the knowledge of which women's wombs are stargates.
Więc te
So then by manipulating DNA, placing this here, placing this there, then placing it into the womb of the female, then they can draw through the stargate if the child is born at the exact time and the exact date, and then they can draw that entity into and then birth.
Więc
So through sexual union, the male, if it's done, obviously there are two ways. One is naturally a male and a female coming together, and right? And then the other way is the manipulated way, where they will, like they track through Project Oak Tree to find these. I think there's only very few women who have these specific stargates. Let's say 11 stargates in their wombs, and they found those and they tracked those. Okay. The parallel project for the females. The females were born in the 80s, and the males were born in the 70s.
Był równoległy projekt dla nie wiem dlaczego.
When they place the child into the so the mother has the child, they've got to make sure that the child doesn't look completely different to its parents. Otherwise, it's going to look very, very bizarre. So what they do is they take small amounts of DNA from the carrier mother and small amounts of DNA from the supposed father, and then put that also integrate that into the child.
podobieństwo fizyczne.
This was primarily an MI6 project, but it was called MI7 Zygote. It was called the MI7 Zygote project.
Czyli zygota.
Okay, so when people talk about MI5 and MI6, MI5 would be the UK that takes care of what happens in the UK. MI6 would be the international that takes care of international. But what most people don't know is there is MI1 to MI9 all the way through. Project Paperclip, I don't know if people understand, or I'm giving basics here. Project Paperclip was at the end of the Second World War, at the October 1945. It was said that the Nazis and Germany lost the war, and the Allies won, and the Allies won. But what this consciousness does on this planet is it inverts everything. It twists, it flips it on its head, so that you don't really know what's going on. Inversion is one of the key things that it does. So, to put it to you, what happens, or what would you think if the Allies didn't win the war, and that was a trick, and that in fact the Nazis did win the war? So, Project Paperclip was a setup where they took the best doctors, scientists, greatest minds of the SS, and then they took them and they hid them in South America and North America. Remembering that by the end of the Second World War, they had technology, these people had technology that is so far in advance of what we could possibly conceive now, that it would even be hard for me to explain. They have age regression technology. No, they can reverse age. So, for example, if Joseph Mengele was 70 years old or 60 years old at the end of the Second World War, there is technology that they have that they can reverse back and make him look 30 years old. Okay, so the powerful Nazis and the powerful scientists then in 1947 opened up and began the United States intelligence agencies. So we have the NSA, the CIA, were then began by these men. We have to remember that the Bush family, who were essentially running the country from, well, when Reagan was in office, Father George Bush was telling him what to do. So basically from 1982 all the way up until George W. Bush ended his reign in 2008, you could say, because the Bushes also ran Clinton, so they had this period of time which was 26 years. The Bushes, which is their real name is Bauer, B-A-U-E-R, are a Nazi family. Okay, so this is the gist of what Project Paperclip is. That the Nazis didn't actually lose the Second World War, that they won, but they continued subversively to control underground. Okay, so now I would like to talk about the astral plane, which is 4D. So we're living in, this is 3D, three-dimensional world. The astral plane is the four-dimensional world. It's the world that you go into, which some people call dream time. When you go to sleep at night, you go to 4D.
My żyjemy się śni.
Most decisions and most of the war begins there and starts there, and then it is almost superimposed after it happens there into 3D. So everything, all the major decisions and everything that happens really happens in 4D. Very close to 3D. It's very, 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 very close. It's right here. It's sharing the same space that we are in now.